Sonic Xtreme, the cancelled Sonic game intended for release in 1996, is easily one of the most famous cancelled pieces of media in history. A significant player in the downfall of both the Sega Saturn and Sega as a console manufacturer, the development of the game is a grave warning of the effects of crunch culture, with Christina Coffin coming down with pneumonia contracted due to her long work hours, while Chris Senn was himself hospitalised due to his days of crunching to get the game out by its deadline. The fact that development was able to continue to near completion, leading to plenty of convincing demo screenshots and videos being sent out to the public, yet the game was never actually released, has created a level of curiousness surrounding the game that few other games have gotten. Many people have developed their own versions of the game based off stories of what the game was like, and many others have created dozens of mods porting the version of Sonic found in Xtreme to practically every other game in the franchise. So unsurprisingly, SRB2 had to end up with one or two mods based off this lovable design, with the one I'm reviewing today being created by SuperPhanto. Let's dive in. Xtreme's Sonic's moveset is not very complicated, although I think it's actually quite interesting. Outside of his one central ability, Xtreme's only difference to the vanilla caster characters is how his spin dash functions, as it now needs to be revved up using the jump button instead of passively increasing in power. His actual ability is the spin slash, a jump ability that can be used for a whole variety of tasks. Simply put, press and jump in midair will cause you to change state from the standard jump to this new chainsaw-like ball. It does give you a second less powerful boost upwards, and I think you might fall slower using it, but you want to minimise using it unnecessarily, because hitting the ground or wall in this state will cause you to get stuck in it. This can be beneficial when hitting the wall, for reasons we'll get to in just a second, but hitting the ground with this will cause you to lose all of your momentum. You can immediately break out of the ground, so you're not stuck there for ages, but I can imagine that using the spin slash in a speedrun does require some strategizing, as those few seconds could cause you to miss your targeted time. In contrast, getting stuck in the wall can be quite useful in many areas. Once in the wall, you can press spin to begin revving up a wall dash and gain some serious height, allowing Xtreme Sonic to, with some significant trial and error, take Knuckles' routes through many acts, especially because the spin slash is able to break through spikes and breakable floors and walls. This feels really wrong. It's quite rare to see a Sonic mod move outside the usual archetype of a super fast character that simply takes the default path through a level, but it is quite fun. The only real problem with this ability, and considering the nature of the problem, some might even say it's actually a positive, is that it is quite glitchy. I'm not sure if I've really captured much of it in my footage, but I've had plenty of weird things go wrong using the spin slash, such as it jittering upwards or acting like it's connected to a conveyor belt while stuck to a wall, or it hovering forward when activated underwater rather than providing you with a second jump, or even one case where I stuck to a wall dash, and ended up speeding down the pillar I was attached to. These aren't game-breaking bugs. I'd even go so far to say they're quite fun, but I could very easily see them being very frustrating when attempting to use the character in a speedrun. Graphically, I'm not a massive fan of how Xtreme Sonic looks, although I must specify that's because I think Sonic looked extremely ugly in the bits of footage I've seen of demos and ads for Xtreme. If we're judging Xtreme Sonic and how well it emulates that style, high marks must be given because it looks ripped directly from the footage we've seen. But while that's a whole subjective debate on how to score intensely ugly sprites, a much more objective bonus for the character is his silky smooth animations. I'm fairly certain that Xtreme Sonic uses an increased number of frames in his walk and run animation, which makes him move a lot more fluidly than most other characters. Again, you can then argue about how Sonic Xtreme's animations were also quite fugly, but, just be quiet. Finally, Speed Sneakers' music has been changed, presumably to one of the Conceptual soundtrack songs Chris Senn has shared with the world through a seemingly deleted website dedicated to Xtreme's development. Not much point in having a soundtrack section just for this one song, so I thought I might as well slip it in here. Overall, I think Xtreme Sonic is a pretty average mod, although that's less because of an inherent fault with the mod, and more because of the unusually high bar that many SRB2 mods set. I personally quite like his moveset, especially the many uses of the spin slash, although I doubt anyone can ever verify just how accurate it would have been to the original attack. Sprites and animations looked ripped straight from what we've seen of Xtreme, so judge them on their accurateness or their objective quality as you see fit. I'll personally give him a 7 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed the video, and ciao.